Hey everyone, wanted to talk today about how much you can expect to gain in a year. This is a question that people, usually have when they're starting out, when they're training. What's a realistic goal for weight gain and stuff like that. Yeah, let's dig into this. The way that I'd like to approach it today actually is by looking at what's possible with a real world example. There was a post that was put up by a friend of mine earlier this week, and she made absolutely amazing gains over the course of the past year. I wanted to share that with you, sort of analyze the situation and what how much she actually gained, the changes that were made to her physique, and what I think were the main drivers of her success. So to introduce her, she's her name is Shiho Fukuda. She's been IFBB pro since 2020. And then last year, even though COVID was going on, participated in 4 shows in the US. That there is an indication of how driven this lady is. In addition to that, she's also a full-time quality assurance auditor at a subsidiary of a major Japanese conglomerate. So I thought it was kind of cool. She was put this video up on Insta a while ago where she's rolling around in a suit. Obviously, because she's a competitor, we have like some of the same issues, like, not finding suits that fit, or constantly growing out of them or growing back into them. So at this point, we're actually talking about how awesome suits from Uniqlo are. So this is, but I thought it was just kind of neat to put it in perspective that yes, she's a bikini pro, but she does work full time. She's a white collar university educated person as well. So I thought that's kind of interesting because that kind of conflicts with a lot of the image that people have about bodybuilding, and doesn't really fit with the stereotype. So I just wanted to share that part as well. Anyway, so despite having this full-time job and this career, she has, she still follows the bodybuilding lifestyle, et cetera, and she posted this up last week on Instagram, and I felt that it was just completely worthy of further discussion. So this is her picture in 2022. Okay, this is the start of her prep this year. This is the start of her prep last year. Now, the first thing that I want to comment on is if you're taking progress pictures, this is why it's important to take your progress pictures in the same place at about the same time of day, in the same lighting, in the same poses, because now we have the ability to pretty much perfectly compare what's happened to her over the past year. Looking at the changes to her physique, you can see that the thing that just pops out at me, and I just like honestly get blown away by, is look at the difference in the shoulders and the arms. Absolutely incredible. Her back as well. You can see that her lat, is quite pronounced, quite more pronounced this year. I know that she has been making a lot of changes to her training, particularly for back and shoulders, and you can see that the extra back training, the extra shoulder training, that has really, really helped to complete her physique. Right now, admittedly, she looks a little big, right? But this is the beginning of her prep. From this point, she's going to start losing weight. And one of the things that happens is if you're starting with, a physique like this and you start to lose weight, to get down to the level of body fat that you need to be in bikini division, is that a lot of the times your arms get really, really skinny. So I can hardly wait to see what Shiho's arms and shoulders look like when she's dieted down, because I think it's going to look really proportional and really nice. Whereas before, they kind of look a little bit skinny and bony, right? And I don't think that she's going to have that this year. So I think she's going to look, outstanding in those parts in particular. You can also see that she's put on a little bit of leg mass as well, and she is probably about comparable levels of body fat. The difference in weight in these two pictures is 3 kilograms. So that's about 6 pounds. If you think about what, for example, 6 pounds of ground beef looks like, that's basically, if you take all of that ground beef and kind of paste it all over yourself in the areas that you've been working on, then that's sort of what a 3 kilogram gain or 6 pound gain would look like in 1 year, right? Because that's all muscle tissue that's being put on there, as long as it's not fat. So, next time you're out shopping and doing your grocery shopping, look at a pound of beef and then think, okay, if I put that on my chest, how much bigger would my chest be, right? You know, how much would, if I put on 5 pounds in a year, you know, how much would that affect how I look, right? If I put on 10, how much would that affect how I look? So, anyways, Shiho made absolutely fantastic progress this year. Yeah, really can't say enough for it. And I know the dedication and the effort that she puts into this. And so I'm not surprised to see these results at all. But you know, it's really a testament to her work ethic and dedication. Um, in terms of what the commonly accepted pace of gains is for natural male athletes, in the first year, somewhere between 10 to 12 pounds or 5 or 6 kilograms. In year 2, 5 to 6 pounds or 2 to 3 kilograms. And after that, 2 to 3 pounds or 1 to 1.5 kilograms. Now, this is for natural male athletes. If you're a woman, it's generally about half of that. And just to let the cat out of the bag, PED use will probably enable about 2 to 3 times the pace of what's written above. So if you hear somebody that's been training for 10 years has put on 10 pounds of stage weight in a year, then you know that it's probably not without some help. And that's just kind of a fact of the sport. Now, Shiho's gains, obviously, she is, I mean, she turned pro in 2020. We can assume that she's been training for probably at least 5 years. So we're talking about she should be gaining around this year, right? 1 to 1.5 kilograms. Now, how the heck was she able to put on 3 kilograms in a year? Well, personally, I think that it's because she does absolutely everything almost perfectly. Her nutrition, her training, her recovery, and her supplementation. I also know that Shiho is natural, and she is natural because she has some health things that she, you know, would be putting herself in very big danger if she were to use PEDs. So, and believe me, I know people that use PEDs, and I know people that don't, and she doesn't. So, and she says she's natural, and I believe her. So, we have to go with that. I think that it's because she is so attentive to detail in absolutely every aspect of her bodybuilding lifestyle that she's able to achieve this. I know that like the science or the general accepted ones comes up with kind of crappy gains that are written here, but I've seen people do more than that. And the reason why that happens, I think, has a lot to do with what James Clear describes in his book, Atomic Habits, as marginal gains. So the power of tiny gains. Here he's got a thing where if you improve by 1% every day, you wind up 38 times better, okay, in a year. Now, obviously that's a little bit far-fetched, right? But if you think about it, right, and if you think about that, if Shiho is managing to improve herself by 0.2%, 0.2% every day, then that will wind up doubling her gains. Now, if you consider the people that were in those studies where they say, okay, you can gain, you can gain 2 kilograms in a year, right? And you compare their level of compliance and adherence and dedication with Shiho's, I guarantee you Shiho is better than 0.2% better than those people in terms of execution, and is definitely able to, eke those gains out. Now, where I think a lot of people get confused is that when you're talking about that, the nutrition, the training, and the recovery, those things are all a given. Okay. Those are all, of course, all your meals are perfect and weighed and measured and planned. And your training, of course, that's measured and planned and tracked. And your recovery, of course, you're getting enough sleep, right? That's when actually supplementation and stuff starts to matter. A lot of the times, the scientists say that something is not statistically significant, or they don't really see any significant gains. However, for somebody who has all of these three things running at 100% already, then the incremental difference that could be however small it is that comes from the supplementation does actually matter. So for somebody who has 80% on nutrition, 80% on training, 80% on recovery, is a supplement going to make a difference? No, not really. But for somebody who's doing 100, 100, 100, then the supplementation and things like that will start to make incremental differences. And that is what I think is going on here. I'm not saying that Shiho's gains are from her supplementation. I'm saying that her nutrition, her training, her recovery, the consistency of all of that, in addition to, if she takes a little more glutamine to get to recover a little better, right? Or if she supplements with creatine. I don't even know if she takes creatine, so, but I would hope she is, because it's like the safest thing out there. But all I'm saying is that, these little details are the things that matter when you're at her level. And, the results speak for themselves, right? She's an athlete that probably competes in the mid 50s, kilogram wise, mid 50s, maybe high 50s, right? And then, for her to gain 3 kilograms of muscle mass in a year is nothing short of incredible. However, the reason why I wanted to share this with y'all is because this is an example of what can be done. And this is an example of, if you dedicate yourself and if you, put things, if you make sure that you are 100% on track on all of your things, these are the types of things that can happen, right? But it's easy to lose sight of that, because in order for her to have those different pictures, she had to work an entire year. And if she's eating 5 meals a day, right, then we're talking about 5 meals a day over 365 days, that some of them probably sucked and didn't taste very good, and some of them were probably boring, and some of them were probably didn't want to eat them, or she had meetings come up and had to adapt around that and all that stuff. But the point is, at the end of the day, she got it all done, right? And it's that sort of level of adherence that will drive gains like this. Now, that said, is this something that you need to aspire to? Now, for that one, I don't really think so, because most people can't handle that level of discipline. Just a sad fact. That's why there's not so many people that are, competitive bodybuilders, because it's not easy at all. That said, if you can increase your, if you can focus on making those incremental improvements every single day, right? So whether it's, making sure that your macros are properly tracked and properly under control, every single day, then eventually you're going to start having weeks where everything is under control. And then when you have weeks, then you can build into months. And then when you build into months, then months become years. And then when you have all that consistency and you have all of this attention to detail the entire way, then that's when you start to see the big differences, right? But unfortunately, it's very much a case of putting in the effort every single day, regardless of whether you're having a good day or a bad day, in order to see those differences in the long term. So it's it's not something that you get immediate gratification from, and that's kind of what makes it difficult for a lot of people. So anyways, I hope that whether you're a male or a female watching this, that seeing these kind of gains that can be achieved in 1 year, and what's required to get them, is enlightening, or perhaps it's always nice to see a real world example of what can be done. So I hope that you'll find Shiho's post as inspiring as I found it. Shiho's absolutely amazing. I kind of look at her as kind of a better version of what I'm doing in terms of balancing career and bodybuilding aspirations and stuff like that. She's just been a lot more successful so far than I have, which is fine. But yeah, so she's certainly somebody that I look up to, and I think that she's a good example for for anyone that really wants to get dedicated and do what is required to succeed in the sport. So thanks very much. Please like, subscribe, comment. If you guys have questions below, happy to answer them. If you have any questions, you can also reach out to me on DM via Instagram, or through my website, which is craighummel.com/coaching. Thanks very much. Look forward to seeing you guys again. Have a great day.